So I want to show that even with this super simple demand and supply model, we haven't even gotten all the way into this unit, but we can already analyze a policy that is kind of popular. It was pretty popular, widespread in cities in the last century, and it still exists, and that is rent control, which is a form of a price ceiling. So we have a market. In this case, since it's apartments, we have a special word for the price, which we call rent. We have a quantity of apartments, and we have demand and supply. And we have an equilibrium, price and quantity. But for some reason, the politicians say that this price is too high. They say people can't afford to live here, and so we're going to put a maximum level on the price. We're going to create a price ceiling. We're going to do rent control on the apartments, and they establish a maximum price. So this is a price ceiling. The rent is not allowed to exceed this price. Now this is a simplified model. In reality, they will set individual rents for specific units. I mean, here we're assuming that this is for one-bedroom apartments, or there's a homogeneous group of apartments. So what happens? Well, let me say this is a price ceiling because this is like a maximum. The price wants to go above it. It wants to get up there to that market equilibrium, and we've seen how the price will adjust. Buyers will bid the price up, but it can't. It can't get past that ceiling. So what happens? Well, immediately we have a shortage. We have quantity supplied falling because it's not worth it to rent your apartment for such a low price. You might as well have the extra space for yourself, or you don't want to build, you don't want to be a landlord and go into business with such a low rent. And quantity demanded is really big. With that attractive low rent, a lot of people want to have apartments who might otherwise share or not move into this area. So quantity demanded is really outstripping quantity supplied, and we have a shortage. So did the policy help people? Well, it helped this group. These are people who were able to get one of those scarce apartments, and now they're paying this much, whereas before, in the free market conditions, they would have paid this much. So they're saving money. But with fewer apartments available at the rent control price, we have these people. They would have rented in the open market. They were willing to pay, so the demand curve shows their willingness to pay. They were willing to pay above the market price, and they're certainly willing to pay above the rent control price, but they can't get a place. So all these people were able to rent. But they're now shut out. And then we have these people, this final group. They can't get apartments. Now, they wouldn't have. Their ability to pay or willingness to pay is down here below the market price. So it wasn't worth it to them to get an apartment at that price. It is worth it now at this sort of artificially low price, but they're still not getting an apartment. So these people have raised expectations where they want an apartment. They can pay the rent control price, but they also can't get one. So they couldn't get an apartment at the old price. They want one now. So, our model shows that lower the price, it doesn't lower the price for everybody. It only lowers the price for these people that were still able to get apartments. And whether it was a good thing or not, how much does a gain to this person, this group, outweigh the fact that all these people now don't have places to live? The other issue is, or a couple of other issues, that one is that maybe the wrong people have apartments now. The way the market should work, and we will talk about this later, is for the people that value the good the most to be the ones to get it. And in a market that happens. The people that purchase the good at the market price are the ones who value it at or above that price. All these people, their demand curve or willingness to pay is above the market price. They're the ones who get the good. Now, this good is sort of artificially scarce. There's only this many, and there's this many people who want one, who can buy the apartment, rent the apartment for that price. So is it going to be these people with the highest value who get those places, or is it going to be some of these folks who kind of jump in, even though their value is lower? That's not really the optimal situation. I mean, they're happy, those people are really happy, but overall, we could make people better off if we sorted them out and gave the apartments to the people that value them the most. That would create the greatest amount of surplus, which is a term that we'll define later. And you can hear about this in rent control places like New York City, where people are kind of stuck in their apartments. They don't want to give up rent control, but it's not really the best situation for them. It may be too big, it may be in the wrong location, but if they were to move, they would lose that rent control price. The other problem is that it gives landlords so much power. You can see that there's this many apartments, and then there's this many people who want them. So they have people lining up, and that means that they don't maintain their apartments. They can try to extort extra fees from you. They will ask for excessive deposits. They will, they also have the ability to pick and choose and effectively discriminate. I feel like when I was renting an apartment, I saw that. In Cambridge, there was rent control, and when I wanted to rent an apartment, my landlord insisted on meeting my boyfriend at the time, who I later married, before he would rent to us, and he did rent to us, but if he didn't like the looks of my boyfriend for whatever reason, he could easily just say no, and there's plenty of other people who would rent that place. So it tends to result in deteriorating facilities because the landlords don't care. They're not getting paid enough to keep them up. It gives them a lot of discriminatory power, and it's leaving a lot of other people who can't rent. There's just not enough. The housing stock doesn't grow because there's no money in it. So those are some of the effects of rent control, and because of this analysis that we just did so early on in our course, it has been less popular. A lot of rent control has been lifted in a lot of cities, but it does still linger. Let me know if you have any questions.